This week, the PLEXforGOOD campaign is underway. Boss find new ways to harass Panfam and Winter Coalition in Tino and Vino. The Initiative and Snuffed out generate a capital brawl in Calivalla. An Etherium Reach Astrahus seeks Killboard fame. A Hel and Another Hell fill in for A Ragnarok. Rekking Crew and friends keep on dropping content generators. The balance of power is challenged in Solitude. The Frigate free-for-all is this weekend, and the Ship Divas have organised a Battleship Brawl. Hello pod people, I'm Frost, and this is your weekly EVE Online update. Welcome back, and I have all sorts of things to report on this week. But before we start, as always, we do the announcements of the Scope Syndication skin winners, which at the moment is the Obelisk skin. And my winners this week, or for last week's episode, should I say, are Timo Lover Van Dyck and Void Strider. So congratulations to my two winners. And Andrew P from all the way back in the 22nd of February episode. This is still your reminder that you've still not claimed your skin. So Andrew P is your YouTube name. Do get in touch with me through my Discord. This is your last call. I'll keep your skin, but you'll need to go and check your comments otherwise in the past to come and claim it. All right, and obviously I have two more skins to give away later on in the show. Also, thank you very much for all of your comments telling me what you've been up to in EVE. It was actually really interesting to read through. I would actually suggest all of you have a look at last week's comments as well. Just gives you an idea of kind of all the different things that people are up to. But there's a lot of mining going on, quite a bit of industry as well, which is good to see. Lots of wormhole stuff, more than I expected. But generally a good variety of things. So thank you very much for that. That was an interesting read for me. Okay, so before we go anywhere else, let me jump up into my box, and we're going to start on with PLEXforGOOD. So PLEXforGOOD is a charity event that is run by CCP. They've done a number in the past. This time it is on behalf of the UN Refugee Agency. Now, the way that PLEXforGOOD works is that you donate Plex in-game to a character called CCP PLEXforGOOD. You contract that Plex to them. They will then convert that into cash, that is CCP. They will then match whatever value you put in, they will match it themselves and then donate that to the UNHCR at the end of the campaign. And the end of the campaign is, let me check the date, Tuesday the 22nd of March. So please do your thing for this, it's been very appreciated. I also did a live stream last week where I kind of did a roam. I'll probably do one again this week. Just to kind of drum up a little bit more interest in this as well and get everybody involved. So there you go. So the most the CCP will match is $250,000, which is still pretty good going. So yeah, there we go. So I think I've said enough about that for now. I will talk about it a little bit later on as well because it comes up a little bit later on in the show. Okay, so we've covered PLEXforGOOD for now. So what we're going to do is we're going to go and let me see if my pen is working. Yeah, we're going to go over to Pure Blind. Not for anything SOV related, just because we are going to see a theme throughout this show, which was the title of this episode, which is Battleships Are a Thing. And what we have here is we have a fight in Pure Blind in the system of X47L-Q, where basically Fraternity went and whelped 15 billion worth of battleships and a nag as well. See the Naglafar there. But the main thing was it was a drunk roam. There was no logi for any of these battleships. So against a Legion fleet with some Guardians to back them up. I think there was some Zealots in there as well, yeah. That wasn't going to end well for this fleet, but it wasn't meant to end well. It was a drunk fleet. But the most important thing here is to point out that battleships are getting used more and more now. And this will be a recurring topic throughout the show. As well, I don't know if you guys can see here, Havoc used to be part of Test, and they've now gone over to Fraternity. So that's actually literally happened in the last few days. They're quite a big group. They're pretty active from a PvP point of view as well. So just something to note there. That's another PvP group that has left Test, and this time instead of going to Horde and to somewhere else in Panfam, they've actually gone over to Winterco. So then what we're going to do, we're going to talk about Tino and Vino because Boss is still up to stuff here. So starting with Tino, so they still have the three iHubs in W8O, IKT and U1T. And what they've been doing is they have been trying to drop loads of structures. Now, I actually have one battle report for this, and you could see that basically their approach has been to drop an Astrahus in each system, or a structure in each system, and then see if they can get it to anchor, so kind of like ninja dropping these. Now obviously because Panfam and Winter can now get involved with their NIP is now expired, they have the ability to have the numbers to be able to split fleets. So even at the times for all these Astrahus at the same time, they're able to create 3 separate fleets and send people off into different directions. Now, having said that, Boss are still dropping structures to make them form. I think they've dropped 9 Raitarus in 3 waves. So that's 3 Raitarus 3 times, all with the same timer to create the same kind of thing and making them form. But on the flip side of that is that they've actually been dropping at the same time as well loads of structures in Venal. And I don't have the exact number, but basically they don't have any Fortizars. It's mostly all Astrahouses. But they have something like between 12 and 18 Astrahouses that they've just dumped in Venal. And they actually have more structures now in Venal than when the campaign by NC Dot and the rest of Panfam started against them. So lots more structures to kill. So there's going to be continuing content there for quite a while, as obviously Winter Co and Panfam will try and grind through those structures. Now, there was a one structure that was actually fought over. Unfortunately, it didn't work out well for Winter Co. Winter Co chose to bring Drake navies against Serbs, and essentially it was a range issue. The Drakes couldn't reach out to the Serbs could reach the Drakes. They're able to kite them and to destroy the vast majority of these Drake navies. This was over a Roach Capel Astrahus, by the way. There's also a video of this. I have it right here. I like the straight out and Venal graphic there, that's pretty cool. And this will show you, and you could see it, that basically the Serbs, and you can see it over here, I mean, they're like 130 kilometers out, and they're just kiting all the way around, and yeah, and creating some issues. And I feel very sorry for that little baby panda down there that's just dropped flat on his face. But okay, so there you go. So you can check that out and see that for yourself. As always, with all these videos, I link them in the description below so that you can watch them in your own time. Okay, so also the other thing as well with these Drake navies is they had to kind of make a choice between hitting the structure or trying to engage the Serbs. And I think they went mostly for the structures, although I can see them yellow boxing the fleet there. But anyway, the end result was we saw that battle report, and as always, the battle reports are all linked in the description as well. Okay, so that's Tino and Vino. Then I'm going to just quickly touch on Geminate. So I mentioned this in passing last week, that essentially literally triggered, who are part of Winter Co, set up in this system. I think they set up some Astrahouses in this system, and they started attacking Tissue and Arcos Core structures here. And at the time, it was basically a fight purely between Tissue, Arcos Core, and literally triggered on its own. But it came down to a final timer in E-91FV that was an Astrahus that belonged to Arcos Core. And what we saw, unfortunately, there was that literally triggered did call in the rest of Winter Coalition, and I think a fraternity Winter Co fleet showed up. And therefore the numbers were then skewed, and Arcos Core decided not to engage. So at the time it was kind of left purely as literally triggered on their own, but obviously they decided to then use numbers to achieve their final objective. All right, so now the big news though is in the Kalevala Expanse. So obviously that's kind of pandemic horde territory, and what we had here is we had a big fight break out. And as you can see, it was pretty costly on both sides. And it was all started off with the Initiative. So the Initiative showed up in a bunch of Kikimoras, and they managed to trap a Hel, I think it was 1 Hel, maybe 2, on the crab beacon, which you can see here. As a consequence of this, Pancrab was called. So Pancrab is kind of the capital, super capital drop to rescue any kind of ships that have been tackled. And as a consequence of this, Pandemic Horde, or Panfam should I say, started dropping supers. Then, in fact, I have a video here. Once again, I'll link this in the description. Now, you can see here that basically the oranges are the Kikimoras. You can see them burning around up here, whoops, around there. You can see the supers then, and then right here, let me pause it very quickly if I can. There we go. You could see right in the middle here a blue Sino. So this Sino was in Pandemic Horde, but lit a Sino for the Snuffed Out fleet to come in. This Snuffed Out fleet was Dreads and Legions. The Dreads then immediately started shooting on the super capitals. The super capitals then had to refit from their light fighters and stuff to try and take on these Dreads. 2 Nixes did die to these Dreads. In fact, this is one of the Nixes that died. And you'll actually see a little bit later on in the video that just you see the armor melt on this Nix, and it's like, no, it's gonna die. But anyway, so go check this out. There is another video as well that was posted by another player. It should also be stated this happened all around downtime. So there's a lot of AU and Chinese time zone players involved in this. So I've got 2 videos of this that you can go and check out. So obviously once all the Dreads and Legions dropped in from Snuffed Out, then that escalated even further. And then we had a whole bunch of Titans come in and everything else. And if you go back to the battle report, there you go, you can see a whole bunch of Titans there, along with all the supers, and then reinforcements came in. And they were eventually able to kill the vast majority of these Dreads. But still, the damage was pretty even on both sides, considering. But the Initiative stayed on grid, which is what made it suspicious. That even though the supers dropped, or the Pancrab support fleet dropped from Panfam, Initiative didn't bail out on their kikis. They waited, and then obviously we saw that blue Sino get lit. The other thing as well, as I understand, is it took them a little while for Panfam to get a Sino in to be able to actually bring in the reinforcements and then kind of close this down. So anyway, it looks like a really good fight, and props to both sides for kind of escalating this and going all in on that. So we like to see these kind of big fights. And as you can see, clearly Snuffed Out, even though I think the bubble camp is still in 4-H. I haven't had a chance to check today. I'm pretty certain it's still there, but as you can see, they're not short of Dread pilots. I think they're doing just fine in that regard. All right, so what am I going to go on to next? Okay, I'm going to talk about now Ethereum Reach. So Ethereum Reach is the territory of Slice, Intrepid Crossing, etc. over here. Once again, Panfam. But in a system of 8 and X, which is right in the middle somewhere. Here we go, BNX, sorry, BNX-AS. There is an Astrahus that wants to get on the Killboard here. This is the Killboard for the system of BNX-AS. And basically, recently, the top killer has been, for all of these here, has been this Astrahus. So I'm not going to say how, I'm going to leave it up to you. But basically, this Astrahus is proving very, very effective at killing ships, and mostly frigates and sort of single roamers. So it is a bait Astra. I will not say how it's doing its bait, but just be on your guard and be aware that this Astrahus is the top killer for the system of BNX. And in fact, there is this Draga here, which was a very unfortunate death. It was a 1.2 billion command destroyer, Triglavian command destroyer, because it had officer mods on it, abyssal mods, dead space mods, all the mods basically. In fact, the Entropic Disintegrator was like 580 million just on its own. And then obviously we've got all these abyssal mods down the bottom here somewhere that, obviously we don't know the value of those. They just show up as 0.01 and light mutated drones as well. So yeah, pretty expensive loss there, and baited by an Astrahus. All right, so then we are going to mention a Peregrine Falls. So we're staying quite a lot in Panfam territory this week. So Peregrine Falls is the next one up, which is kind of the new home, new staging of Pandemic Horde. And we had a showing from a Hel, which, as you know, is another toon, a sibling of A Ragnarok. So A Ragnarok appears to be on vacation at the moment. So A Hel is filling in. And apparently there is another sibling, because there is another Hel. So we have a Hel and Another Hell, which I believe are all the same character. And this time we have a drive-by shooting from the Hels, the Hel twins, on a nag. So there you go. So now you've got to look out for not only A Ragnarok, but also A Hel, Another Hell, So you have the whole family here. I believe a Vendetta may be coming soon as well, but we will have to see about that. All right, so on that note now, let's do the giveaway. So as always, I give away 2 of these skins every week. And here it is. This is at the moment the Obelisk skin, which looks gorgeous on the freighter. Nice big golden front to it. And the way you enter into the competition is you have to basically make up a sentence in the YouTube comments down below with a keyword of my choosing. And in regards to PLEXforGOOD and to keep it on your mind, the keyword this week is going to be Plex. So you can use Plex, Plexing, whatever you want. At the moment it has those 4 letters in it. That is fine for me. You can flex for Plex, whatever you want. Just make up a comment with the word Plex and you will be entered into the draw. The deadline for the draw is Friday the 18th of March 2022, and I will try and announce the winners as a reply to the YouTube comments sometime on Saturday. So Saturday evening, Sunday morning, please check your YouTube comments and see if you have won. Then you contact me on my Discord, I'll give you the skin. There you go. Okay, so good luck with that. And we will go back to our news now. So back to our regular programming. Next we're going to Catch, because in Catch, we had a roam from the Ship Divas. If you don't know what I mean by the Ship Divas, I'm talking about the Initiative. I have called them the Ship Divas for a long time now because they normally bring out loads of interesting doctrines. And they're not disappointing this time because we have the Battle Potatoes. The Dominics is back, and these were remote repping Dominicses. So I think it was Panda that brought this fleet out of roaming battleships once again. So once again, another roaming fleet. This time with Armageddons and Dominic's and a Leshtak and an Estor. So a good little mix up there. Unfortunately, they didn't stand well against the Megathron Navy issues from Sigma Grindset. It's also worth noting that, as I understand from Sigma Grindset, that they refuse to have a hack doctrine. And so they are all in for battleships, and they will undock battleships at every opportunity that they can. So it's good to see that people are hopefully looking at these battleship doctrines that may be a way of finally getting rid of the hacks. Maybe they can't get rid of the hacks, but at least it's offering people a change, and people are now clearly kind of hacked to death and want to try different things. So it's good to see the battleships making a comeback, and obviously the patch that happened recently is making a big impact on that. So yeah, well done CCP on making those changes and making battleships something again. Or a thing, as I said in my video. Okay, so that's that. Then obviously Immensia, we are still getting content being generated by Rekking Crew as they continue to drop structures. Generally in this constellation here, seems to be their favorite constellation, specifically the system of GM-0K7. So battle report is this one. And actually, I'm going to move these guys over because these are all together. So, no, don't move. Oh no, I didn't need to do that. Let me go back. There we go. All right. So essentially, we have Fire Coalition, who are the people that are being content generated, and then Hero Coalition and friends. So basically, Rekking Crew. So Sigma Grindsets, Hero Coalition, Weapons and Map Production, etc., etc. Are dropping structures and generating content out of that. And as we know, Triumvirate and CVA kind of join in with Hero Coalition on these fights and side against Fire Coalition. Then, just for some random reason, we had a random marshal there from Guardians of the Tranquility. I have no idea what they were doing there, why they were there, but props for bringing out a marshal. It looks like it got on some of the kills as well. So good job there. So just a random marshal with a Loki and a Manticore just showing up and joining in on that fight. And this is just one, by the way. I think there's a number of these kind of going on. As I mentioned last week, Fire Coalition and Rekking Crew seem to be quite happy with these kind of just general skirmishes that are going on. And there's no soft warfare. It's just purely skirmishing going on over structure timers and stuff like that. All right, then we had a Drakus Fortizar destroyed. So we haven't had a faction Fortizar destroyed in a very long time. And these are always worth mentioning because, you know, they're a one-time thing. Once they're gone, they're gone. And they're slowly getting depleted. Obviously, there's still a whole bunch of 1DQ, and I don't think those are going anywhere soon. But from what I understand, this was in Stain, and I believe that they fell out with Stain Roos. over, and their standings got reset, and their Fortizar got hit, and that is the end of this faction, Fortizar. Then other pieces of news, some stuff going on in Solitude. Now this is kind of very much kind of small to medium gang stuff, but it's kind of just to give you up to date that, you know, there is always kind of the shifts in power. So essentially, as I understand, the main group there that was the strongest group was Greater Solitude Commonwealth. And now there's been kind of sort of a war going on, and basically we've got Greater Solitude Commonwealth have teamed up with Manifesto and Cruiser's Crew, and they're being aggressed by the Dark Space Initiative, who are a corporation of scary wormhole people who have the best ticker ever, which is WHBOO. Hero Coalition as well are there. Some faction warfare pilots, and the network has been, that's Noir by the way, have been contracted on a mercenary contract to fight in this war. And so it's all kicking off between these groups in Solitude, mostly kind of small gang stuff, small to medium size, you know, no more than sort of 50 pilots, stuff like that. And I think a lot of it's happening around structures being hit, around YVV and all of the surrounding kind of areas to there. So just to bring you up to speed on that, there is some kind of small to medium stuff going on. Normally it's always in kind of low sec or NPC space, yeah, so it's nice to just comment on something that isn't kind of the super blocks. All right, so then I need to just mention as well, before I mention all my kind of general stuff, 11 raw calls died this week to whaling, so once again we're back down, not much going on the whaling front. On the supers, lots of supers died, but only 3 of them were ratting supers from what I could see. It looks like as well, I talked about last week about Derelict being a very dangerous area to travel through alone in supers at the moment. And in fact, it looks like Hothermouth claimed another super between filming my episode and actually airing it last week. Perpetual Helmeted Warriors are the main group that have kind of like taken control of that area and catching a lot of stuff flying through. We then had another super, another Nyx destroyed by Perpetual Helmeted Warriors in that region. Then we had, I don't know how this happened, a Snuffed Out destroyed a Nyx in Anunan. It looked like a passive tank Nyx, so it didn't look like a hyperspatial Nyx or anything like that. I didn't have a travel fit. I don't have the story on that, on what happened, but it was destroyed and Snuffed Out caught it. And then obviously these are the 2 Nyxes that I talked about getting destroyed in Kalevala with that Hel Initiative Snuffed Out action on the Crab Beacon. So, and then like I said, there were about 3 ratting supers left. Right, so now what we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about something that's very big in the news at the moment, affecting a lot of players and creating a lot of discussion. So I'm just going to bring it up for your attention. This Prospector pack, the fact that it's bringing in basically a player-made ship has created a lot of controversy. It resulted in an open letter being made by Brisk Rubal of the CSM, signed off by a whole bunch of other ex-CSM and current CSM players. We then have 1,025 comments on this. A lot of them are, I support this. I actually signed this as well, as I think player-built ships are a problem if CCP are selling them directly to players and they're not actually being built by the players, and it can affect the economy. Now, if you want to know more about this, Hateless Gaming actually did a couple of videos on there. One where he talks about this open letter in detail and then gives his viewpoint on it, and then a second one where he actually talks to Brisk about it and has a whole interview on it. So if you want to find out more about this, then obviously I'll link the open letter in the description below. I will link Hateless's channel as well. You can go and check out these 2 videos, and that will get you up to speed on what the whole controversy is about and where you stand on it. Okay, then we come up to some NPSI fleets and stuff like that. So the first thing, as I mentioned it last week, this Saturday, it's the Frigate Free-for-All, organised by Stay Frosty and the Band Apart and Rick's Jarvix. So 10,000 free ships will be handed out, all frigates. Big event happening in the system Ulieta, and it starts at 1600 and goes through all the way to 2200. And there'll be other things like capitals showing up and stuff like that for you to shoot at. So big event, it gets bigger every year. This is the 8th edition of this event. There is also another event happening on the same day. So the other event is happening at 1900. This is organized by Dark Shines of the Initiative. It is taking place in the system of Oh Shit, and it is a Battleship Brawl. And the way this is going to work is that all alliances are going to be bringing in battleships. There's going to be no coalition agreements on this. It's going to be alliance via alliance. And I believe pilots or alliances from all over New Eden are going to come and show up for this. And I think Pando is going to organise a Not Purple Shoot It fleet as well, so a public fleet to attend for the people that want to attend that are not part of any of the big alliances. And obviously all of this is for the PLEXforGOOD campaign that is currently going on. So that's at, you can see it down here, at 1900 Eve time, also on the Saturday 19th of March. So you can make it to the Frigate free-for-all, then make it to the Battleship, and then you probably get back in time for another hour or so, another couple of hours or so on the Frigate free-for-all. So get your jump clones ready, get your shuttles ready or whatever so that you can attend both of those. Right, then I need to mention something which is related to the whole Ukraine thing, New Eden Watchdogs. So New Eden Watchdogs are a group that have set up a Discord, and this Discord is there to help protect the structures of Ukrainian players whilst they're unable to log in. So you can help out joining this Discord by scouting structures, keeping an eye on them, making sure they not get hit, or actually be involved in actually helping to protect these structures if they are attacked. As a lot of the players have agreed now that basically Ukrainian structures are no-go for the time being, as the Ukrainians are busy with obviously real-life stuff at the moment. So, New Eden Watchdogs, go and check out that Discord if you want to help out and protect those structures in-game. Right, then Katia Say is back with another amazing lore video. So this is episode 3, I think, of New Eden Travelers. Always beautifully shot, great cinematics, great narration. Do check this out. It's about 10 minutes long, I think. So just lean back, chill, enjoy it, and very, very relaxing and really nice to watch. And it just reminds you just how much depth there is to New Eve in terms of just stuff around that you're just not even aware of unless you're like Katia saying you visited every single system and you know all about them. So there you go, Inspirations, New Eden Travelers by Katia Say. Okay, so then I'm going to finish off with just one last thing. I wanted to point this out. This was actually made by one of my court mates, Snow Cream. It is a synthwave track that has been made and sampled with sounds from EVE Online. So go and check it out and go and have a listen to that. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So if you want some synthwave with some EVE samples in it, this is the track for you. And then I'm going to finish off with a bit of news that, as you know, FanFest is coming soon in May. There was a request put out by CCP for some player hosts for CCP TV, and I have found out that I have been selected to join the CCP TV team for FanFest. So you will be seeing me on CCP TV stream all through FanFest as I make various appearances. So there you go. So thank you very much, CCP TV, for that. And that's pretty much all from me for today. As always, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications and all that kind of good stuff. And if I don't see you on my Twitch show Friday at 2000 UTC, then I will make sure, hopefully I will see you next Tuesday on my YouTube show. And I'm messing that all up. So I'm going to stop with PLEXforGOOD. Bye.